right, well, let's get started. Um, Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where in the world you may be joining us from. Thank you so much for joining us today, where we'll be discussing how to request your Form I-20 or DS-2019. My name is Marie Monlapaz, and I'm the Assistant Director at the International Services and Engagement Office, otherwise known as ISEO, here at UC San Diego, and I'll pass it along to my colleague, Vanessa.
Hello, a big welcome to all of our newly admitted undergraduate students. My name is Vanessa Cisneros, and I am an international student advisor here at ISCO, and you will be getting to know me really well as you progress through your time here at UCSD. So welcome, and I'm happy to be here today.
So today we're going to talk about some important topics that relate to your pre-arrival preparation for coming to UC San Diego. This is a brief webinar designed to give you a basic overview for upcoming deadlines and important information, and we will be sure to leave adequate time at the end for your questions. We will review more about the International Service and Engagement Office and how we are here to serve you, go over some admission reminders, applying for your Form I-20 and DS-2019, for your F1 or J1 visa, approaching deadlines and reminders, and again, we'll leave some time at the end for questions that you might have. Before we begin, just a bit of logistics. Note that you are in listen-only mode and you can hear us, but we cannot hear you. You're able to ask questions using the Q&A feature to submit questions, and you can also contact us at icontact@ucsd.edu. We'll be recording this webinar, and you'll be able to review the webinars at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. So you can always reference them. Please give us about a week or so to get them onto the website. You can review the presentation, PowerPoint slides, and then also the recording for this webinar. You can use this Q&A. This is where you will drop your questions in the Q&A section, and then we will be able to answer at the end of the presentation. So before we get going, I'll briefly go over the Zoom control panel you all have. If you would like to submit a question, you may send it through the Q&A button on your control panel, and it will be sent privately to the presenters and panelists. And we'll spend about 10, 15, 20 minutes after the webinar to complete the answers to your questions. If we see a certain common question come up, we will read these out loud so that everyone can benefit from the answers, but we will not identify anyone who asked a specific question by name. So first, let's go over a brief introduction of ISCO, also International Services and Engagement Office. We're here to support you throughout your time here at UC San Diego. ISCO offers a number of different services, including pre-arrival support orientations, such as the webinar you're attending today. We also are the office on campus that will support you in maintaining your status as an international student. To do so, we offer virtual and in-person advising, process immigration documents, and a number of other services in addition to that. We also offer a number of events to cultivate a globally engaged community here at UC San Diego. Our vision is to foster an inclusive and globally engaged university where all members of the international community have equitable opportunities to achieve their academic, personal, and professional goals that cultivate a culture of global citizenship. So now let's talk about the populations we serve. We are fortunate enough to have a very robust international community here at UC San Diego. We support over 10,000 international students, including both enrolled students as well as students who are here working after graduation. We also have over 2,000 international faculty and scholars who work here and conduct research at UC San Diego. And with them, with these international students and scholars, we support over 1,000 international family members who are accompanying them. To do so, we work collaboratively across the campus with a number of different partners to support our service population of just under 14,000. Slide, please. But let's take a moment to focus on specifically our international students. As you can see here, we have over 8,000 currently enrolled international students with a pretty even split of 4,000 undergraduate and graduate students, respectively. You can see most of our popular academic departments as well as places of origin. And note that we have students coming from over 100 different countries, so you're joining a robust international community here at UC San Diego. So, on behalf of the International Services Engagement Office, welcome. We are so excited to welcome you this fall and meet you in person. We recognize that the journey that brought you here may not have been easy, and we applaud your courage and resilience. We are truly excited to have you join our UC San Diego community, and we look forward to the many ways you will enrich our campus and to learn opportunities um, we'll have to learn from one another. We look forward to supporting you in the months before you arrive and can't wait to meet you once you get here.
Okay, thank you, Marie. I will now go over some of the first steps in the checklist to get you started on your journey to UC San Diego. First, please log into your applicant portal and complete your enrollment checklist, including accepting your offer of admission and completing the California Residency for Tuition Purposes questionnaire, if required. Also, the Office of Undergraduate Admissions would like for us to remind students that there are certain documents that won't be available until after July 1 for you to submit to UCSD. So for example, your IB exams, maybe after July 6th, levels mid-August, other national exam results. Please don't panic or contact the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. They understand this is happening. They know to expect them late. Just send them as soon as you have them so that way the office can process them. So submit what's necessary as soon as you have it, and then wait for the Office of Undergraduate Admissions to process it. It will all be okay. Again, we can't wait to see you here at UCSD. ISCO has tried to make the process of arriving and starting your program as seamless and intuitive as possible. International students have the dual responsibility of following academic processes in addition to immigration requirements. I-New Student is intended to help you in all matters of immigration. Get from where you are to San Diego to begin your program. You can navigate to inewstudent.ucsd.edu. Click more, click undergraduate students, so you're going to click bachelor's. And that will take you to the site that will guide you from requesting your immigration documents to preparing for your arrival to finally arriving in person to San Diego. Please lean heavily into this resource as you navigate the pre-arrival process. Before we dive into any documents or processes, we want to start with an important reminder. Your immigration status here in the United States is your responsibility. Our office will always do our best to answer questions, provide guidance, and help you navigate the rules of your status. But ultimately, your status belongs to you. And that's not meant to be scary. This is your life, and we want you to feel empowered. You're making a huge investment of your time, energy, and resources to come to UC San Diego. No one will ever be invested in your success as you are. And understanding your immigration responsibilities is a part of protecting that investment. So you'll hear the phrase maintain status a lot from all of us here at ISCO. What we mean is doing what is required to remain in the US legally in F1 or J1 status while you study at UC San Diego. It's also important to know that maintaining your immigration status may differ from maintaining your academic status. This is because this terminology will come up through your time here in emails and advising sessions and workshops. We want to start early in helping you to understand it. You can always review the expectations on our Maintaining Visa Status checklist. It'll be linked in the chat, but you can also find this on I-New Students. You'll be able to navigate over to Maintaining Your Visa Status checklist. All right, so let's talk about how to get started on applying for your F1 or J1 student visa. We here at ISCO break the visa process down into 6 steps. Step 1 is to request and receive your Form I-20 or DS-2019 from ISCO. I want to point out that if you are currently in the United States as an F1 or J1 student, This step is also and still required of you. So if you're attending this webinar and thinking, I don't need an F1 or a J1 because I already have one, note that you will still need to request a Form I-20 or DS-2019 from ISEO in order to attend UC San Diego. So this information in today's webinar will be relevant for you. Step 2, if you are in need of an F1 or J1 visa stamp in order to enter the United States, then the next step, once you've received your Form I-20 or DS-2019, will be to schedule your visa interview. This will involve submitting the visa application, the Form DS-160, or the Form DS-160 to your local embassy or consulate and paying the required fees. Step 3, you will then attend your visa interview upon the scheduled date. Step 4, upon successful completion of the visa interview and application process, the U.S. Embassy or Consulate will provide you with your F1 or J1 visa stamp. You will then be able to plan your travel to the United States. Step 5, the visa process does not stop there. Once you have your Form I-20 or DS-2019 plus your F1 or J1 visa stamp, you need to successfully enter the United States. This is called applying for entry at the port of entry, and this is where you will go through customs. Step 6, and upon successfully passing through customs, you will then be able to arrive at UC San Diego. The last step in the visa process is to arrive to UC San Diego and complete what is called the SEVIS check-in in order to activate your F1 or J1 status. This will be a form that you submit to our office showing proof that you have successfully entered the US under F1 or J1 visa status. Once you have submitted your SEVIS check-in form, we will activate your F or J status, and you will be an active student in active status as an international student in the United States. That was a lot. So for today, we will be looking at just one step in this entire process, which is how to get your Form I-20 or DS-2019. So we'll be limited to speaking about that today. This Tuesday, April 7th at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we will be holding our next pre-arrival webinar, where we will discuss the next 3 steps in this process, which is the visa application process. So we'll look at, once you've received your DS-2019 or Form I-20, how do you actually apply for your F1 or J1 visa stamp? If you haven't yet registered for this session, you can do that by visiting inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. So we hope to see you next week to take a look at these next steps. As a reminder, the information we will discuss today is all completely outlined at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu under Step 1. Before we take a closer look at how to request your Form I-20 or DS-2019, I want to pause to just say again, if you are currently in the United States on an F1 visa and hoping to transfer your SEVIS record and your F record to UC San Diego, maybe you're currently attending a community college and planning to start UCSD as a transfer student this fall. Even if you already have an F1 visa, you are still required to request a Form I-20 from ISEO. In addition to requesting a Form I-20 from our office, there are other steps you will need to take or move or transfer your SEVIS record from your current school to UC San Diego. So if you are currently attending a school in the US on an F1 visa, I also want to encourage you to join us for our SEVIS Transfer Pre-Arrival webinar. Please visit inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu to register. For those who will be applying for an F or J visa for the first time, let me briefly explain what the Form I-20 or DS-2019 is. You must first have received your Form I-20 in order to apply for an F1 visa stamp at your local consulate. Or you must have received your Form DS-2019 in order to apply for a J1 visa stamp at your local consulate. This is because the Form I-20 or DS-2019 is your certificate of visa eligibility. In other words, the Form I-20 or DS-2019 lets the consulate know that you have been admitted to UC San Diego and that you are seeking a US visa in order to come to the United States as a student. If you are not sure which you should request, see our guide at inewstudent.ucsd.edu. We have on the screen for you to see the visual of where you can click to find that resource. This resource will help you determine which is most appropriate for you. So, to recap, you must receive your Form I-20 or DS-2019 first before you can apply for your visa stamp. You can request your Form I-20 or DS-2019 from iservices.ucsd.edu. Once you have received it, then you will have the information you need to begin your visa stamp application process. I want to take a moment here to really stress that if your intention is to come to UC San Diego, which we of course hope it is, do not book your visa appointments or do not submit your DS-160s prior to receiving your UC San Diego I-20 or DS-2019. If this is the school that you hope to attend, you will need to have our I-20 or our DS-2019 before you submit the application to the State Department. In order for you to get the I-20 or DS-2019 process started, you will need to ensure you have access to iServices. At inewstudent.ucsd.edu, refer to submitting a request for an immigration document Form I-20 or DS-2019 to access iServices. Please note that due to the new Triton Student System, TSS, being launched by the university in March 2026, the process for setting up required accounts and requesting visa documents may differ from your peers. For all scenarios, or what you can expect, you will receive email communication from ISEO directly regarding what steps you need to take in order for you to access iServices in your specific situation. At inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu, under Step 1, you will find complete instructions for how to complete your UCSD account setup so that you can access iServices after receiving the email from ISEO. And you will also find information how to submit your new admit request and what documents you will be required to upload to your new admit request. We will be reviewing these steps together today, but please refer back to the site prior to and while submitting your request. The International Students and Engagement Office is required by law to verify that each person applying for a Form I-20 for the F1 visa or DS-2019 for J1 visa has sufficient funds to cover the period of their stay in the United States. In most cases, the documentation that we require will also be required at the U.S. Embassy or Consulate when applying for an F1 or J1 visa. Newly admitted students, as well as continuing and returning students, must prove they meet the funding requirements for their Form I-20 or DS-2019. One of the most common reasons students experience delays in receiving their Form I-20 or DS-2019 is due to issues with their financial documentation or funding requirements. Regardless of the funding source, all financial documents must first be dated within 3 months at their time of submission to ISEO. 2, must be in English or accompanied by an official certified English translation. And 3, show funds that are immediately available. Funding cannot be frozen or in locked accounts unless the document clearly shows a maturity date before your terms start at UC San Diego. Refer to our funding requirements webpage to see what financial documentation is accepted as well as required amounts for your program. Once you are able to log into iServices, that means after you follow the instructions that ISEO has sent you, this is what iServices will look like. You will select starting a new program at UC San Diego, highlighted here on the left. From there, you will select which new admit request you want to submit. Remember, if you will begin a degree program at UC San Diego in F1 visa status, you will submit the new admit I-20 request. If you will begin a degree program with UC San Diego in a J1 visa status, you will submit the new admit DS-2019 request. And remember, there's a resource if you're not sure which one you're submitting. We covered that earlier. If you are in the US in a different non-immigrant status like F2, H4, L2, but plan to change your status to F1 or J1. Schedule an appointment with an ISEO advisor, icontact@ucsd.edu, to discuss further, and be sure to indicate in that appointment that you're discussing a change of status from your current status to F1 or J1. The request that you submit is going to have a number of different e-forms. Be sure to submit all of the required e-forms within the iServices request. So on our current screen, we can see all of the different required e-forms, and you won't be able to submit the final submission confirmation at the end until you've completed all of the required e-forms. Incomplete submissions with missing e-forms cannot be processed. Finally, be sure you submit the submission confirmation. The submission confirmation is what completes your request and sends to ISEO for us to review. As a pro tip, be sure you have taken the time to review funding requirements prior to submission to avoid processing delays. As previously stated, one of the biggest delays in processing for students receiving their immigration documents is the request being set to incomplete due to their financial documentation. So we have this all linked at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu. The two most important things you want to do is first, confirm the amount required. So we see what the requirement is for our undergraduate students for the current academic year, 26-27 for our new admits, 82,662. This is subject to change at any time. So do make sure that you are checking this and making sure that the documents you're uploading total at least this amount. You don't have to upload more, just this amount. So that's step one, confirm you know how much you have to show. Step two is to confirm that the documents that you are uploading to your request meet our requirements. So on the last picture on the right in this slide, we see the word criteria, and that criteria is all the requirements of that particular document. So on the left, the document, we have personal funds, checking savings, account statements. So if you're uploading a checking statement from your home bank, it has to meet all of the requirement there on the right. If it does not meet that requirement, even if you upload it and submit it, we are going to have to set that to incomplete and ask you to resubmit, and that is going to cause the processing delay. So please be sure to review these two components of all of your financial documents before you submit. Another pro tip for SEVIS transfer eligibility. If you currently have an active SEVIS record, be sure you review the SEVIS transfer eligibility information and answer information appropriately in the SEVIS transfer eligibility e-form. You must answer this information correctly to let our office know if you're going to be issued a transfer I-20 or an initial I-20. These will have consequences for you down the road, so we want to make sure you're requesting the correct request right from the get-go. The processing time for your I-20 or DS-2019 document is generally 15 business days from the date you successfully submit a complete, and complete means no further updates or edits are needed, new admit request in iServices. Note that the processing time for your new admit request will depend on a number of different factors and cannot be guaranteed. Most importantly, new admit request will be set to new complete when additional information, updated information, or clarification is needed on your new admit request. For this reason, please thoroughly review all e-form instructions and submit your responses prior to submitting to ISEO. Please note that the days in your iServices new admit request remain in incomplete status do not count towards the general business day processing time and may cause a delay in processing. Said another way, if your request needs to be set to incomplete and you are required to resubmit, you can think of this process as getting back into line. So you first submit, you're in line for your DS-2019. If there needs to be a correction, you get out of line, make that correction, and get back into line. If your application is incomplete or invalid, you'll be contacted by ISEO with very clear and explicit instructions to resubmit or add clarifying information to your request in iServices. Please note that the speed at which your new admit request is completed is directly connected to how well you review and follow the instructions on our website and in iServices. Take your time when submitting so you do not have to correct errors later. So, to recap, please review the instructions at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu in advance of submitting your new admit request so that you are able to successfully complete and submit it from the start. This will help you receive your I-20 or DS-2019 as quickly as possible. Of course, because you need to have this form to move forward with the visa application process. Once your form I-20 or DS-2019 is issued, it will be emailed to your UCSD email for access. Alternatively, you will also be able to review it in iServices. Be sure to download, print, and sign it by hand. Students often ask ISEO, can I sign this digitally or electronically? And the answer is no. The US government allows universities to electronically or digitally sign the form I-20 or DS-2019. But for you, the student, you are required to print and sign this form by hand. You will be required to show the printed and hand-signed document at your visa interview and when passing through customs to enter the United States. Once you receive your Form I-20 or DS-2019, please review it for accuracy. Some things that you want to review are for the SEVIS ID number, biographical information, program information, funding, DSO signature, and also your student signature. For more details on reviewing your I-20 or DS-2019 for accuracy, see inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu. We have some additional information for updating your major. So newly admitted students should not request an updated I-20 or DS-2019 for a major change until after arrival to the United States and your SEVIS record has been registered. So that means we recommend that you submit the form I-20 or DS-2019 after you've made major changes. If that's something you're exploring or that you're interested in doing, submit the request after you do that to ensure your I-20 has that information or your DS-2019 has that information. And if you do end up changing your major after ISEO issues you your form I-20 or DS-2019 is issued, but before you arrive to the United States, please refer to our support letter to show a consular officer or the officer at the U.S. Port of Entry. We will be unable to update just for a major change after we've issued the original I-20 or DS-2019. So please be aware of this and navigate carefully. All right, so that is the first step in the visa process. Once you have received your Form I-20 or DS-2019, you will have the information you need to submit your visa application to your local U.S. Embassy or consulate. Please join us next Tuesday for our next pre-arrival webinar, where we'll take a look at the visa application process.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. Now I'll share some ways you can engage with our community during your time at UC San Diego. First off, I want to highlight our iNews student newsletters. These are newsletters that share critical information meant to support you during your pre-arrival season. Our goal is to send you the right information right when you need it. So if you're not currently receiving these newsletters, please email iprograms@ucsd.edu. ISEO has provided some great newsletters that are helpful. We have a great resource at our welcome guides. ICU has created welcome guides filled with helpful checklists and interactive links that cover your next steps, what to do before you start your classes, what you need to do before taking your pre-arrival, and the next steps to take upon your arrival here at UC San Diego. So our surf check guide was created by students for students covering the most frequently asked questions. This guide covers topics like housing, arranging transportation from the airport to campus, setting up a phone account, bank account, and so much more. So you can learn more about this at isco.ucsd.edu, programs and our guides. We have a wonderful Global Ambassador program, also known as GAP. It's a summer-long peer mentoring program designed to assist incoming international undergraduate students in acclimating to a new environment and making a smooth transition into university life at UC San Diego. This program pairs incoming undergraduate students with current student mentors in order to encourage cross-cultural exchange and create a positive transition and adjustment process for incoming students. Many students who participate in GAP say it was one of the most helpful things in supporting their transition to UC San Diego. So I'll go over a few of our signature programs that you can find at iprograms.ucsd.edu. These programs are typically offered monthly, and they are a touch point for our international community to connect and engage with one another. So if you're curious about these programs, you can go to iprograms.ucsd.edu, and I'll highlight some of them. We have a wonderful monthly global coffee hour where you can engage with international students, some of our scholars, our ISCO staff, study abroad returnees. It's just a relaxed environment where you can grab a cup of coffee and a pastry and meet with our international community. We also have our English in Action conversation program, where if you want to practice your English, you can be paired with another person at your at a time that's convenient for you. We have Triton Trekkers, where we partner with our Outback Adventures campus recreation group, where we plan trips where you can go moonlight kayaking, rock climbing, or kayaking or hiking. We also have our ISAC, our International Student Advisory Committee, where if you want to share more about your international student experience, this is a great leadership opportunity. And we have our monthly game nights and craft events where you can also relax and meet other international students and scholars from our community. So our I-events calendar is a live calendar that's filled with events not only offered by our office, but other offices and student groups on campus. These events either target an international audience or have a global engagement theme. Many students will bookmark ievents.ucsd.edu to see what they might want to do for the upcoming week or weekend. So if you're curious about what life looks like as an international student at UC San Diego, you can follow us on Instagram, where we offer daily snapshots of the daily life of a student, where to go to watch a sunset, places to study, where's the best place to grab a cup of coffee. So now we'll talk about additional resources and things to keep in mind as we close today. There is a slight delay with requesting your I-20 or DS-2019. It's really important that you make sure that you accept your offered admission and that you are given a UCSD email. You will need to have that set up in your Active Directory in order to access housing. Note that there could be a delay using the new Triton student number, and this information will be provided to you. So just a few housekeeping items. Before you start navigating, you can start requesting your I-20. You'll be able to, sometime around mid-April, request your housing. To apply, you'll need to wait for an official invite from housingcontracts.ucsd.edu. Okay. And then there's in May and June, you'll be able to request your housing for new freshman students and for our transfer students. So note that there is a deadline in July for all your trainings and for your immunizations. In September, we're looking forward to welcoming you. You'll pay your tuition, move in and check in, and attend our new international student orientation as well. So for our next webinars, next week we'll have our webinar on applying for your US visa. On April 9th, we'll have undergraduate student housing. April 14th, be sure to join us for these next webinars for student health, insurance, and immunization requirements, financial student accounts, student life and getting involved, and campus safety, getting set up in the US, your SurfCheck Live, and finally your CVIS transfer process for F1 students if you are transferring to UC San Diego. Please note all of these webinars will be recorded and available at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. Thank you so much. So our office is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 p.m. and you can always contact us at icontact.ucsd.edu. and go to inewstudent.ucsd.edu. So now we see that there are a few questions that have been submitted.
Hi, Marie. I can help with these ones.
Thank you.
So our first question is how to request the form I-20. I'm going to actually, I think, share my screen. So good question. That's what our webinar is about today. So thanks for being here and thanks for asking a question. You're going to go to inewdegreestudent.edu.ucsd.edu. So again, inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu. This site is going to contain all of the instructions from start to finish on how to obtain your form I-20. Everything you'll need to know is right here. You will find information about preparing your submission for your I-20 or DS-2019. You have to review this first. And then you also have information here regarding iServices and how to have access to that. That's really the first step of being able to submit your iServices request is you must have access. While you're waiting for access, it's not necessary to email our office. Our office will reach out to you with further instructions. So please be patient as you're waiting for that email. But while you're waiting for the email, in order with instructions on how to gain access to iServices, you can review all the other information. So all of the information that's here, you can start to prepare and check that criteria to make sure that as soon as you submit it, we're going to be able to issue it on the first go. So I hope that answers the question on how to submit your I-20 request. So inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu, and here's the website. I'll pop it in the chat for you. Yep, you'll follow these instructions. So step 1, step 2, and then finally submitting the request. Okay, I think we have one more question. Yeah, so the question is about financial documentation. If my government is paying, do I still need to show a financial document? And the answer is yes. We as DSOs and AROs here at ISCO are required to review financial documentation to ensure that people have the funds, for the students have the funds to support themselves the duration of their program. So we are required by the law to do that. A resource that you can look for under inewdegreestudents.ucsd.edu, preparing for submission. Step 3 is required funding documents. You can click here, funding requirements, and you'll want to make sure you know how much you're required to demonstrate. So regardless of whether who's paying or whether you're getting a DS-2019 or an I-20, you'll find, I'm speaking to undergraduate students today, so you can find that information listed here. You're a new admit, so you'll have to demonstrate this amount of funding in order for ISCO to be able to issue you that I-20 or DS-2019. So once you figure out how much you need to submit, your second step is to figure out what financial documents are you going to submit. Are you going to submit personal funds? Is this a private sponsor? Is it a term deposit? And we let you know if we're able to accept that document or not. If we are able to accept that document, here where it says yes, it must meet all of this criteria in order for us to issue it. All of that stays on our record, and that's also going to be the same information that you're explaining to the consulate or the embassy. So we want to make sure all the information lines up. The question of funding from a government sponsor, here a funding support letter from department or government or educational institution. This is specifically what you had asked. We do accept those, of course. And here are the items that must be a part of that document for us to accept it. It's also pretty much the same as these ones. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. We have a few more questions. I have a bit more time. I can answer some more. We have a question about, it sounds like a pending PR case and whether that requires attending UCSD and F1 status. So we here at ISCO are limited to guidance on F1 status and J1 status. That's our area of expertise, and we're really here to support you in that. For this question, I will say refer to your attorney to see what the attorney's feedback is if you need to establish F1 or J1 status if you're currently pending permanent residency. I can confirm that in terms of the institution, UC San Diego is not whether you're in pending permanent residency or F1, J1, we have students in H4, we have students in lots of different types of statuses, you're still permitted to study at UCSD. So you're not thinking about what requirement do I need in order to be able to study. You're really going to be working with your attorney to figure out what status should I be in as I'm studying, because you want to make sure whatever status you're in, that that status permits studying. And because we don't advise on permanent residency or pending permanent residency, I can't confirm that, but your attorney will, and whatever your attorney says, you can feel free to follow. Question, what does it mean to be backdated by 3 months? Thank you for asking that as a clarifying question. Today is April 2nd, 2026, here in sunny California. That means that the oldest document you could submit, March 1st, 26, February 1st, 26, January 1st, 26. So if you submitted a document from December 2025, it's not acceptable because it's more than 3 months old. Okay, I'll stay on for another question if we have any. I'll give it another minute. But welcome. Thank you for asking engaging questions. It's always really great to know that you're listening and paying attention to us. We look forward to processing your documents as quickly as we can. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Marie, I think we did great. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Sai.
Thank you, everyone. We look forward to meeting you this fall and are very excited to have you join our UC San Diego Triton community. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar.